years. If you go to page 20 in your program book, you'll get some grim details over the last year or so. And even since we went to press on that, there have been highs. Ben Camacho winning 2 of his lawsuits where the city sued him wrongfully. And yet we continue to have lows. About 4 hours ago, some of our colleagues were pepper sprayed and punched in the face covering a protest. I hear about these constantly, and the good news is I hear about them. All too often, journalists are afraid of making themselves the story, but sometimes you are. And when you are, I want you to know that you are not alone. You have help, obviously, here from the L.A. Press Club, and we want to stand with you and support you whenever needed. But there's one person who has been there for us since long before I was doing this, and long before the Press Club started to get more active in press rights, Mickey Osterreicher. In 2014, I joined the Press Club's board of directors with just 2 qualifications. One was that I cared about news, and the other was that I was a nerd. One of my first official tasks was to email the National Press Photographers Association and ask, who can I talk to about drones? And they said their general counsel, Mickey Osterreicher, was the best person. And since then, I've asked Mickey a lot of questions about civil rights, about police training, about artificial intelligence, about cameras in the courtroom, and about search and seizure laws. And for 10 years, I have proven that I am a nerd. And Mickey has proven he is the best person on so many levels. He's always asked one question back: how can I help? Mickey is uniquely qualified to help. He's a photojournalist, as you saw from some of those amazing photos. He was out here covering the O.J. Simpson trial after he had covered O.J. Simpson for playing for the Buffalo Bills. He's an attorney. He is a sheriff's deputy, reserve sheriff's deputy in Erie County, New York. He brings a blend of experiences to bear around the country. He's able to relate with the challenges of journalists. He's able to be there for us. He's able to understand the challenges of police and those who occupy the halls of power. Whenever I work through a problem locally on behalf of the club for press rights, I'm able to reach out to Mickey and find solutions that he's already accomplished through settlements, whether it's with NYPD, police training in Minnesota, appellate court battles in Texas, or his eloquent testimony in front of Congress. Over the last 25 years, a period of time where I've been researching the press rights incidents in Los Angeles, there's one trend that stands out. It's when Mickey comes to LA and trains local police that things get better. As he's done all over the country, he's left his mark here on Los Angeles. Many of you are familiar with the epic battle and one of the big roller coaster highs for us of Senate Bill 98 passing to protect journalists at protests. And 3 years ago, there was a coalition of press groups like the L.A. Press Club. We formed a coalition to fight for this really important bill, and we got it. And most of us had no idea what we were doing. But we had one person. We had Mickey, who has always been our champion and knew just what to say, to guide us on questions of law, to guide us on questions of strategy. And in the process of doing that, he has been a mentor to an entire generation of press rights advocates here in California. Mickey, thank you for what you've done for our community here in Los Angeles and for journalists around the country and around the world, and for a better informed public. Ladies and gentlemen, I am thrilled to present our Guardian Award to Mickey Osterreicher.
I'd like to thank the members of the Academy for this. I'm at the wrong venue. All right. As a kid from the Bronx, I was enchanted by Hollywood movies, and I've dreamt about delivering that line in Los Angeles someday, and I guess this is about as close as I'll get. But seriously, I do love what I do, almost as much as having been a photojournalist for so many years. For lawyers, one of the biggest challenges is understanding what their clients do. And even though I try to learn something new at least once a day, I'd like to think that I understand our profession. For those of you who are not familiar with NPPA, the National Press Photographers Association has been the voice of visual journalists since 1946, and I have proudly belonged since 1973. Our members are staffers, freelancers, students, and editors in print, broadcast, and online. NPPA offers mentoring, training, and many other benefits, as well as scholarships through our sister organization, the National Press Photographers Foundation. So even though we are a small organization compared to those who get millions of dollars in contributions, pound for pound, we are punching well above our weight class in having a crucial impact on press freedoms. I began training journalists about their constitutional rights in 2010, but soon realized that saying, "I know my rights," is usually the last thing a journalist gets to utter before hearing, "Turn around, put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest," if they even get that courtesy. Which led me to start training police, because with my unique perspective, wearing three hats, journalist, First Amendment lawyer, and deputy sheriff, I realized that if officers didn't know, understand, or respect those rights, it wouldn't matter what journalists knew. Earlier this week, I did a virtual training with the Milwaukee PD in preparation for the upcoming RNC, and next week, I'll be providing similar training for journalists partnering with the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. As I like to say back to the police, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. And having taken and attended so many depositions of line and supervisory officers as defendants in federal civil rights lawsuits, I am always stunned that while they have heard of the First Amendment, when questioned further, they think of it as some nebulous concept rather than one of the bedrock principles of democracy, one that I and they swore an oath to uphold. As someone who also understands the challenges police face, I try to convey my passion about what really makes this country great and point out the similarities between law enforcement and journalists. They protect and serve. Journalists inform and serve. Neither can work from home, at least not the photographers. When something bad is happening, the police and journalists rush towards it while everyone is going in the opposite direction. And as professions, we are highly criticized for what we do. As many of you know, I did training with the LAPD and LASD last year and have plans to do more. I look at what I do as chicken soup. It may not help, but it doesn't hurt. Let's hope that's true here. This is a particularly special time for me. 10 days ago, we had a fifth grandchild, Javier Diego Villa Irada. And I thought Osterreicher was a long name. Yesterday, back in Buffalo, I biked 34 miles in the Ride for Roswell, which I have been doing for over 20 years, never thinking that one day I would be a frequent flyer with multiple cancers, including one brain metastasis, from covering such stories as the Toxic Love Canal and 3 Mile Island. But thanks to so many of you who are here tonight, I raised over $19,000 this year to help fight that deadly disease. And now, this. Thank you to the Press Club for this honor, and to Frank Megna for that lovely video, and Adam for the kind introduction. Thanks to my colleagues, friends, and family, but mostly to my wife, Kathleen Curtis, an award-winning photojournalist and photo editor who keeps asking me, when am I going to slow down? But it's hard to do that in an age of labels like fake news and enemy of the people. It is both a labor of love and a privilege to represent visual journalists, especially when I see all of you on the front lines upholding the principles of the First Amendment every day. Being recognized in this way is even more meaningful than an Academy Award. Thank you for this honor. Stay safe and be well. Thank you. Where am I going? That way?
Right down here.